High in the Indian Himalayas, villagers live with a terrifying legend. They believe a ticking nuclear device is buried deep beneath the ice and rock of the Nanda Devi mountain peak. When a devastating flood swept through the Chamoli region, destroying dams and erasing infrastructure, locals immediately pointed to the mountain. They suspect the catastrophe was triggered by that very device. The terror is grounded in a declassified operation from 1965, a joint intelligence mission that left a radioactive mark on the mountain. For over half a century, the people of this valley have been living in the shadow of a radioactive Cold War ghost, leaving us with a baffling question. How did a nuclear payload end up abandoned on a Himalayan summit? The answer starts a year earlier, in 1964. China had just detonated its first atomic weapon, instantly shifting the balance of global power. At the time, the United States had a massive blind spot. The CIA lacked the satellite technology required to monitor Chinese nuclear testing facilities from space. Next door, India was in a state of high alert. Fresh off a crushing defeat in the 1962 Sino-Indian War, they were now facing a hostile neighbor armed with nuclear capabilities. The solution came from an unlikely conversation in Washington. During a cocktail party, a National Geographic photographer pitched a wild idea to U.S. Air Force Chief Curtis LeMay. LeMay took it seriously. Soon, the CIA and the Indian Intelligence Bureau hatched a joint operation. They would use the towering peaks of the Himalayas as a physical, high-altitude watchtower to spy into China. The intense paranoia of the Cold War pushed two desperate governments into a dangerous gamble. To monitor a global nuclear threat, they were willing to risk a localized nuclear disaster. They assembled a joint espionage climbing team, bringing in elite American and Indian mountaineers. Leading the Indian side was Manmohan Singh Kohli, a legend in mountaineering history. The CIA converted these athletes into field operatives, training them on Alaska's Mount McKinley to handle intelligence work in the most unforgiving terrain on Earth. Their mission was to carry a massive spying device up the mountain, including an 8-foot antenna and a 56-kilogram snap generator. Inside were 7 capsules of plutonium-238, containing half the radioactive material of the Hiroshima bomb. Hauling standard climbing gear up 25,000 feet is a monumental feat. Forcing humans to drag highly radioactive, heavy machinery up vertical ice walls borders on the impossible. The mission parameters essentially treated elite athletes as nuclear pack mules, pushing them into a hostile environment that barely supports human life on a good day. By October 1965, the team had reached Camp 4, 24,000 feet above sea level. That's when a brutal snow blizzard slammed into the mountain. Captain Kohli faced a terrifying choice. They could push forward and complete the mission, or they could turn back and prevent his men from freezing to death. He chose his men. Before retreating, they needed a way to secure the heavy payload. They hastily dug a shallow snow cave, placed the nuclear device inside, and tied it down with ropes and batons, assuming it would wait out the storm. In the spring of 1966, a recovery team climbed back up to those exact coordinates to retrieve the hardware. They found broken ropes and scattered rocks. A massive avalanche had struck the camp during the winter, ripping the device from its moorings and erasing any trace of it. It was a stark lesson in human limits. A highly calculated, multinational intelligence operation was instantly swallowed up by the chaotic, unpredictable violence of the Himalayas. Intelligence agencies in both Washington and New Delhi panicked. They clamped down on the story, classified the failure, and completely sealed off the Nanda Devi sanctuary to expeditions for years. The secret held until the late 1970s, when international media leaks finally forced Indian Prime Minister Morarji Desai to stand before Parliament and admit the blunder to the public. Despite decades of secret search operations, the ice yielded almost nothing. Then, in 1993, a team finally located a round steel case on the mountain. But the discovery only made things worse. They found the protective casing, but the raw plutonium capsules had separated during the fall. The radioactive core was gone. This animated timeline shows the decay rate of plutonium-238. This specific isotope has a radioactive half-life of exactly 88 years. Starting the clock from 1965, that still leaves roughly 30 to 35 years of highly active radiation posing a lethal threat to the environment. Today, scientists and locals are torn between two possibilities. Either the plutonium is slowly leaking into the Rishi-Ganga River, contaminating the water supply, or it's steadily melting its way down through the glacier, sinking to settle harmlessly on the bedrock. Until it's found, those lost capsules remain a literal toxic legacy buried under the ice, a permanent consequence of global espionage, reminding us of the reckless lengths governments will go to when blinded by paranoia.